Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, El Shai, Ba'Shem, Harakar, Kodash. Double honors on double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Paya Allah, and this is update. The date today is the 17th of October, 2022. Right, so news and prophecy and news, update. I just got a couple things from recent days in terms of news and prophecy that I want to go into. Lord willing, you'll be edified. So this is from the government website for the UK, gov.uk or .gov.uk, and there he had an individual come up to the camp. Possibly could have been a Jake, a brother in disguise, because he looked like an Edomite. He hung about for a bit, and he basically, the main thing whenever someone comes up, we deal with is the prophetic scriptures of the word, alright, and see if they can grasp that. And this man, when the C-hip was put to him as being a MOTB, he basically, I don't know, as far as I don't recall him taking to it like, yeah, that's what it is, but more just so that he provided this information. And my brother looked it up, and my one looked it up, and then, he forwarded the information. So I just said, let me do a video, let me include it in this as well, because this is, prophetic news, all right? So as it reads, it says, guidance, human augmentation, the dawn of a new paradigm. And this ain't nothing new with a human augmentation, all right, where they want to basically alter or change the way man has been made, all right, by basically merging man with machine, all right. It's called, they call it transhumanism, all right. And this is why the whole agenda right now is basically, all of this kind of, meshing of man and machine, obviously, and just, changing the minds of the people, all right, to be more willing and accepting to experiment with new things, okay? And this is all to, fulfill prophecy written inside of the Bible. Now, one of the points that they did mention was that they were saying, and it's now being known as to why they keep showing it in Hollywood, their predictive programming, that basically Skynet will one day overtake from humans and then will become extinct, Matrix, all these different type of movies. The reason why is because now when it's coming to real life, when fiction's turned into non-fiction or perceived to be turning into non-fiction, they're providing a solution of that being to basically, merge yourself with machine so that you can have the ability to deal with them, right? And that's why they even showing things like exoskeletons. Even are seeing like engineering, like they've got inventions of knee aids or stuff like that, and they say it basically reduces the weight of your body by like 40, I don't know if it's 40 kg or was it 40 pounds, but there was a reduction in the amount of weight you weigh, so you feel lighter, so you basically, what it means is you become a lot stronger, you can carry a lot more stuff. So that's not even it's mechanical, but it's not electronic, it's not like, an exoskeleton, it's not like greatly taking you to new leaps and bounds, all right? But all this stuff is basically being made readily available. People that are paralyzed having the ability to use their brain waves, transmit through a C-hip in their head to make, remote controls move and all this type of shit. This is witchcraft, on the left-hand side, spiritual power, sorry, on the left-hand side, witchcraft. All right. So it says this publication is designed to set the foundation for a more detailed research and development on human augmentation. Detailed the development concepts and doctrines center worked in partnership with the German Bundeswehr Office for Defense Planning to understand the future implications of human augmentation, setting the foundation for more detailed defense research and development. The project incorporates research from German, Swedish, Finnish, and UK defense specialists to understand how human augmentation emerging technologies could affect the future of society, security, and defense. Human augmentation technologies provide a broad sense of opportunities today, for today, and in the future. There are mature technologies that could be integrated today with manageable policy considerations such as personalized nutrition, wearables, and exoskeletons. Yeah, these are the things I mentioned. So I read that sentence again. It says, there are mature technologies that could be integrated today with manageable policy considerations such as personalized nutrition. So something, what I take from that, from what it brings to mind, something that they've showed on the news before, is that of dealing with the sea hip, basically secreting you know medicine into your, or these poisons into your body, what they call medicine, right, at a timed moment. So that's like personalized nutrition. Wearables, you got different wearables that track your heart and all this type of stuff, and exoskeletons. There are other technologies in the future that promises for of bigger potential, such as genetic engineering, right? So actually altering your DNA, all right, and that's what the 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 jumper, all right, the jump shot. That's basically what it's meant to do. It's meant to what, alter your DNA, all right, or make a new form of engineering, and brain computer interfaces. And we're seeing that as well. The ethical, moral, and legal implications of human augmentation are complex and hard to foresee, but early and regular engagement with these issues must be thoroughly considered. So that basically what they're saying is, they're saying that we gotta get in early to get the ball rolling, so the minds of the people will be more willing to accept this, and put on the legal side of things, put stuff in place that make it where it becomes a policy. Legally it can be done. All right. And this is what we're seeing, that slowly but surely. Human augmentation could signal for the coming of a new era of strategic advantage with possible implications across the force development spectrum. Let me read that again. Human augmentation could signal the coming of a new era of strategic advantage with possible implications across the force development spectrum. That's going over my head. That's something I'd have to go over to pick at. What you should read, what you should read this publication. This publication seeks to inform a wide audience across the defense and security sector. It will be relevant to those involved in policy and strategy formulation, science and technology concepts, and force development, capable and acquisition, procurement, personnel and workforce planning, and operational commanders and their staff. So this is something dealing with, security, as it says there, this in the disclaimer, MOD, the Ministry of Defense. So this is something that's starting with in the, army, basically, the military forces, and then it filtered down onto the people, all right? So let's see the disclaimer. It says, disclaimer, the content of this publication does not represent the official policy or strategy of the UK government or the UK's Ministry of Defence. So that's the disclaimer, where they can just circumvent any form of, conspiracies. And you see it's been out for a bit, all right? So at your discretion, check it out. Check it out, check it out. I might as well read this. So it's the book of Matthew 13. Actually, let me start from 14 because it's relevant. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, that being with the ICBMs. But also, the technology this man has, well, really, the peak of it all is the ICBM, all right? But this man's miracles is his technology, all right? That's why it tells you in the book of Daniel that he had eyes like unto a man, all right? Because that's talking about his wisdom, his technology, because that's the miracles that he's able to do, which makes people to buy into him, all right? And basically want to participate with it. Saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Yeah, so they made an image. It basically, pattern themselves after that of the beast, right? In their mindset and their thinking. That's why everyone has a new world. Even when you deal with social media, people have something known as ghost, is it ghost accounts? I think is the name, all right? Where they basically go online and they'll say certain unpopular opinions, because why? If they do it from their actual normal profile, they're going to be ridiculed by the masses of public, right? Why? And why is that? Because everyone has a mindset, image, and that's been done more recently. Why? Because they've been gradually establishing that mindset more and more, all right, to the point where what people are now, they're intimidated to tell their honest opinion, all right? And they had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast, they should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, which the number of the man is. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 So, you know what that means? It's talking about the C hip, right, which we're seeing over time being pushed more and more. So I got this other article. It's from the Scotsman. It says abortion clinic buffer zones are not an attack on free speech. They protect people from harassment. Laurel Waddell. All right. My argument for buffer zones is this: it's 2022, and what a woman does with her body is her own damn business. More of this, and this is part of the image of the beast. More of the feminist rhetoric, all right? But this is a guise, for them to basically take away the rights of the people by establishing, attacking freedom of speech. Because if you said this is not an attack on the freedom of speech, they should be allowed to do it. They should be allowed to say whatever they want, and people just got to deal with it. That's it. But the fact that they can't, it is an attack on free speech. Let me try and get... Oh, Lord. This one's it's an opinion piece, so it's a bit... All right. I'll just read from here. So it says, I'm not of the belief those who stand outside hospitals with placards bearing graphic images, antagonizing words about evil and murder are motivated by a desire to help. Yeah, and I mean, that's what you would say, but really what is a form of help, because what is it? It's called, what they call it? Cruel love. There's a word, man. You know, the saying goes, you have to be cruel to be kind. But tough love, that's it. Tough love. Yes, it's a form of tough love, basically. Frankly, I don't care whether they claim they come in love or in hatred, because either way, it's intimidating. There's a disturbing arrogance to the placard holders' belief that they have the right to target those accessing a medical service. When they are not calling what they do a vigil, they call it a protest, reaching for the argument of free speech, claiming victimization. But buffer zones will not stop freedom of expression in public spaces. Buffer zones prevent, quite specifically, the ability to target and harass individuals accessing medical services. All right. So basically, this is what is springing up, and it's basically an attack on religious groups. All right, which we would fall under. All right, we being the Hebrew Israelites, which are basically teachers of the word of the Heavenly Father. But because these things are happening and they're rooted in the so-called Christians' belief of the Bible, it's basically now establishing something known as buffer zones, whereby there's zones where you're not allowed to have no form of speaking out in accordance with the Bible, all right, or any type of religious rhetoric that they feel is against the agenda of today, all right. So with that being said, what's the regulations on the buffer zones? How far does it go? Anti-abortionists targeting women who may be in an acutely vulnerable position is especially galling. Some, however, may simply be going about their routine business, nobody's business but theirs and their doctor. So, let me step back. Just want to get some key information. No, let me just do that. All right, so it says this is from buffer zone to be set up outside Bournemouth abortion clinic. Anyone caught protesting and harassing visitors or staff could incur fixed penalty notice of £100. An extensive buffer zone is being put in place around a clinic in Dorset, all right, in order to prevent anti-abortion campaigners harassing service users and staff. The zone will cover 6 streets around the British Pregnancy Advice Service Clinic in Bournemouth and will be in force for 12 hours a day, 5 days a week for the next 3 years. So it's been set for 3 years. And if anything we can go in more recent history is the fact of over here in the UK, they said the lockdown would last 2 weeks, all right? And it lasted 2 years. So and British and the passport was designed as a contingent during a time of, I believe it was World War One, all right, to make sure whoever was in the country belonged onto a certain nationality. But now they're permanently here. You can't leave the country without having one, all right. So it says anyone caught protesting, harassing, intimidating, or photographing visitors or staff could incur a fixed penalty notice of £100 or be liable for conviction at a magistrate's court. So you can get convicted. This is basically the beginning, man. You know, you could check out these articles. All right. Let me do this. Let me read these scriptures. Let's get some scriptural oversight of these things going on. Right. So this is Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but a hearing of the words of the Lord Yahweh. All right. So this is what's going to happen. There's a time coming where there's going to be a famine in the land, a famine, but not of bread or water, but it's gonna be what? A hearing of the words of the Heavenly Father. All right, and that's what's rapidly approaching. And this is something we know. Let me just give you some precepts, man. Because the reason why is the word going out in the first place? Let's read it. So it's Revelation 7:1. It reads, "And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our of our power, Yahweh, in their foreheads." All right. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. All right. So the reason why this word is going out is because it's a sealing of the words in that of the minds of the children of the chosen of the nation of Israel. That's why it tells you in the book of Ezekiel 9:4 to go through the midst of the city and set a mark upon the foreheads of them that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Why? Because basically why the seal, because the seal is being put in their foreheads. All right, so let me read this is the book of Romans 10:14. How then shall how they call on him in whom they have not believed? Actually, let me jump straight to the point. This is Romans 10:17. So faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Lord, or of the Most High. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. All right. I'm getting like 10 scriptures come through my mind. So lucky, man. So yeah, let me read it again. So then faith cometh by hearing. So faith is a gift from the Heavenly Father. All right, that's bestowed upon the elect. Ultimately, it's given to many, because many are called, but few are chosen. But only those that actually have the faith unto election are that have the elect, right? So it says, so then faith cometh by hearing. So the only way you're gonna gain that faith is by hearing what? And hearing by the word of the Most High, all right? So you go hear the word of the Most High. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world, because the word has gone out, man. It's gone out to all over the earth, and everyone's heard it. And that's by reason of the sealing of the elect and what was spoke of by the angel that came down and said, hold back the destruction. All right. So let me read this. This is it. Matthew 24:14. It says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Then once the word's gone out, the destruction is going to come. All right. And that's what's going to happen. So last one I'll read is this. It's the book of Revelation 14:1. All right, so it says, and I looked, and lo, and the Lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having the Father's name written in their foreheads, that being New Jerusalem, coming down from heaven. Why are they coming down from heaven? Because when the destruction happened, the elect of the nation of Israel, including the 1/3, which are the what's the name? The mixed multitude, basically. You know, the multitude that was with the believers that came up with the elect, all right? They're going to get beamed up, all right, and taken through the fire. They're going to scarcely be saved. But then what's going to happen? They're going to come down with Yahweh Shai, and they're going to be coming from heaven, all right? And the reason why they're going to be able to go up is because they had the seal of the living power in their foreheads, all right? So that's why they're doing all this stuff, because ultimately it's putting prophecy into play, all right? Now, this is the last article I got from Zero Hedge. It says a generational opportunity in commodities. Right, I'm gonna actually have to It might be still here. Probably is actually. Okay, I'm gonna have to open it again. Let me see. Um, 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 um. Decade of action. All right, cool. So let's quickly go through this. It says a generational opportunity in commodities. Even after the correction over the past few months, commodities have been one of the best performing asset classes in the markets this year and over the past couple years. As a result, many investors have come to the conclusion that they have missed the trade. The truth, however, is the bull run in commodities is probably still only its early innings. All right? And it's very true. Quickly look this up. Uh, a bull market or bull run is defined as a period of time where the majority of investors are buying, demand outweighs supply, market confidence is at a high and prices are rising. So that's what it means, all right? Because me personally, I ain't too sure, all right? So let's go here. All right. So there we are. A generational opportunity, all right? So basically they're saying that the prices have shot up, but there's still a good chance they're gonna shoot up more. Now the original right now, silver, for example, is measured at, I believe it was at 70 to 1, but it's gone down to something like bouncing around 50 to 1 in terms of gold. But throughout most of history, and I think even now, if you look it up, they'll say 16 to 1. That's what they actually say. For every ounce of gold, there's 16 ounces of silver. Something like that, I believe. That's what they said. But when you look at the market, it doesn't look like that. But historically, I believe it was 20 to 1. All right. So if you look at what silver costs right now, it's going up. All right. You can get, well, if you got a special trader's price, you can get it for like £25. But it's been going up to like £34 or so. You know, in its at its dearest, at its most expensive, basically. So the point being is that an ounce of gold, I'm talking in pounds. Ounce of gold over here, I believe, is like okay, 1,500, right? 1,400 and a half, 1,500. So you see, it's like £16 for like an ounce there. So if it was meant to be 20 to 1, my maths is really bad now, man. 1,500 divided by 10, £150. So it'd be about £75, all right? If it was 20 to 1, all right? But it's £16. So that shows you on that measure, and it's 16 is what they're saying, so it'd be even more. On that measure, there's going to be a point where the markets readjust, and that, you know, basically you'll be part of that generational wealth which is being spoke of. From a fundamental standpoint, commodities are still dramatically undervalued relative to equities. See, they are dramatically undervalued. All right. Let me just get this right. to the value, all right, as a fool. All right, so they're basically being greatly undervalued in comparison to what they actually are valued at. All right. So this suggests that the outperformance they have seen over the past 2 years still has plenty of room to run. There's also that the crucial fact the capital flows in recent years represent a tremendous tailwind to raise in the ratio, which, due to the long lag time associated with these trends, will persist for years to come. I believe that's basically just saying there's a lot more, value that needs to be added that's been held back basically. All right. From a technical standpoint, the Bloomberg Commodity Spot Index broke out to new all-time highs this year after a period of consolidation that lasted well over a decade. All right. So while most investors continue to shun the asset class in favor of financial assets due to hindsight bias created by a long consolidation period over the past decade, or the misperception that commodities are now somehow overvalued after their stellar performance over the past 2 years, the fundamentals and technicals continue to tell an increasingly bullish story. All right, so basically they're saying that they're trying to undervalue that, but really that's why. Why would they do that? Because they want the value to be in what they do. Basically, we're in a world where of fiat currency, where basically value is in fake money. All right. If you have faith in it, it actually means something. That's why you got people buying NFTs of shit that you can't even, it's not tangible, but they'll pay 60, half a million, whatever, and it will appreciate in value and they can sell it on and make more money. That's the type of world we live in. But in reality, there is great wealth and great, esteem in having gold, silver, all of this stuff, because this is the stuff that makes the world go round. This is the reason why Ukraine is right now the hotspot for World War III. Why? Because they're battling for the resources, because whoever controls Ukraine controls Europe, all right? And Russia has all the advantage right now because the gas supply, and that's the only way of America's in, so to speak, to have control over Europe. Now, that being the case, all of this is the reason why I read this article. It says a generational opportunity in commodities, because ultimately, this is just, the article says, there's an opportunity to make wealth in commodities, right? But a lot of people overlooking it. But what we know by the agenda, because I've gone through it before, that they're going to present opportunities to people, all right, to basically buy into the new system, all right? So let me quickly read this. It's from, Decade of Action. I'll just jump down to diversity. And it says, we combine science with indigenous wisdoms, starting collaborations between the best scientists and indigenous leaders, social entrepreneurs, youngsters, and creatives. We need a new system if we want to motivate people to leave the old one. And we need creative culture to shape that future, to tell the stories and help develop new paradigms. This combination of diversity, disciplined age groups, and transformative power of high impact and compelling creative storytelling is unique. So basically, they just want people to buy into the system, all right? So let me read. What was I gonna read? I was gonna read something. I just wanted to read this one quickly, since they're talking about generational wealth, and a lot of people don't know this. This is the book of Genesis. I read from 30 to 1. It says, and Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, all that he had, and Lot with him, to the south, And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and gold. That's what made Abram rich. If you even go to the book of Job, and you deal with Job being the richest man in the East, what did they say he had? Right? Um, oh, well, you said he had great substance, should I say. They didn't say he was the richest man. Oh, well, yeah, he was the greatest of all, even better than being the richest man, greatest of all the men of the East. Right, and you see his wealth there is a great abundance of things, man. Of things that denote wealth being livestock, gold and silver. All right. But mainly what's mentioned there is what? Livestock. All right. So now this is the thing. A lot of people are gonna buy into this because of the opportunity. So let me read, and it's gonna be done via what? The C hip. So let's go with this. I'll just read this quickly. So it's the book of Exodus 21 and 1. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free from not for nothing. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her masters, and he shall go out by himself. And now in this modern day and age we live in, we're slaves, all right? And guess what? We're slaves that as soon as we enter this world, we enter as slaves. We operate under Esau controls the world, and he operates under a thing called maritime law. And that's why you get a birth certificate when you're born, a social security number over in the States, national insurance number over here in the UK, and wherever, what part of the world you're in, there'll be some form of documentation and a number assigned to you to denote your your status as livestock, all right? That's owned onto this man, Esau Edom, all right? So we're slaves. That's the point. So when you get a woman in this kingdom, she's beholden to this man. That's why, as it says in the prophecy, a woman should compass a man. You have no jurisdiction over a woman. You should. She should be your possession, as the Lord made it. All right? And you tend to her, you take care of her as you see fit in accordance with the law. But guess what? You can't do that, man. You can't. You can't do that shit. All right? They have a lot more leeway than they did in previous years. And guess what? And at the same time, what's happening? They're making very bad decisions because it wasn't designed to be as such. But this is just for a time of evil, all right? But again, we're in a time of us being slaves. So this man, if you were to leave this man, there is no leaving this man because he has everything. You're gonna go out to the world and be a bum, basically. Verse 5, and if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. And this is ultimately what's gonna happen when you have the introduction of the C-HIP MOTB, all right? This is gonna be the question, the ultimatum that's gonna be presented before you. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door. And he's going to be brought before what judges? The angels of the Heavenly Father. All right. That's this our temptation, time of Jacob's trouble, is basically, the eyes of the Heavenly Father looking down. And it's a judgment that's going to determine whether you fall to the left or to the right. All right. He shall also bring him to the door or onto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. All right. So that's the reason why there's a great opportunity for generational wealth, even with crypto and all this type of stuff that they're going to introduce, CBDC and all this stuff, because it's for people to buy into the system and to be in it lock, stock, and barrel, and ultimately, get destroyed. All right. So with that, man, that's a lesson, man. I pray you were edified. Till the next one, say shalom, shalom.